All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, next panel number 5, united by decentralization, fostering community in crypto. We have the ascending man, Randy Hilarski, Marlon Williams, and RHMax. Give it up for these gentlemen. If you'll make your way on up to the stage, I'll get you all situated with microphones. It is now live. It is live. It's live. Marlon, it is live. That's the part of it. Okay.
Mic check, mic check. It works.
Good. All right. Everybody enjoyed lunch? Good. Yep. So this is really my baby here. It's building community. I knew that our marketing plan was that we had to tell stories. It couldn't be the money launderer, drug dealer, terrorist sponsor that was related to crypto. It has to be all of you. It's the guy that worked 35 years in Nova. You know, it's the single mom out there trying to put food on the table and maybe get a house for the kids. You know, it's all of you out there that are working regular, average daily lives, trying to make it. And the world has been handing us, you know, can of shit for the last 30, 40 years. And I got to be honest, that's what it did. We good? There we go. So I knew that in order for us to market this thing, that it was going to take grassroots, networking, development, community, to get those stories out of you guys. That's why I set up Discourse Syndicate. And we called it that, not because it was a cool crypto name, it never has been, and probably the only reason why we haven't canceled because nobody can find it. But I wanted us to have Discourse Syndicate as an organization, financial minds. And that's what we were doing. We were having discourse. We were talking about what was going on and telling our stories. And, you know, and Randy and me, RH and Marlon, they've all told me their stories. And that's what we try to do with the movie. That's what we try to do with Discourse Syndicate. That's what we're doing here with all of you, sharing stories and showing people that crypto is real, full of real people, not just Facebook dwelling, hot pocket memers out there. And that's, you know, that's part of us. Don't get me wrong, I have anything against those guys. But in order for the real world to get in, you have to be able to relate with all of you. And that's why we do this. So I'm going to go turn it over to these guys and start asking some questions based on that. So you guys heard my answer. Why is community such a crucial aspect of success in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space?
Well, it's because community is the asset. One of the things that crypto originally started as is peer-to-peer, just simply, you know, I give you some money, you give me some back. And we don't have to go through the government entities that, as you say, have been giving us a load of crap.
Can
of crap. So what ended up happening throughout the next many cycles after that is people started focusing on technology, and it's fantastic because there's a lot of innovation going on. But then all of a sudden we hit this cycle. In this particular cycle, people are sitting here saying, hey, where's the technology? What's happening? Well, it's becoming apparent that it's not necessarily the technology that makes a great token, that makes a great chain. It's actually the community that centers around it. And so I believe that community is the #1 thing with any blockchain anywhere ever created. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference between a chain that does well and doesn't. It's the winning and the losing. It's the ghost chain versus the one that thrives and brings everyone in and gives everyone whatever they're looking for. So, yeah, community is the product, community is the asset, community is, I mean, what you all see here today. I'm looking at the community, right? It's everyone's bringing their talents, making their contributions. It's amazing. So I think I've said before, it's you know, when will I give up? When will I stop? When will I be like, all right, this thing didn't work? And I look behind me and see no one else is there, and that's the community.
Yeah, for sure. I'll kind of take us through a timeline in crypto since I've been around since the early days. First, it was libertarians that came, and we built this. We're the foundation, and it was rough. You had a lot of strong personalities. You had the Roger Veres of the world. You had the Satoshi and all these guys. And I like to bring it back to the past because we start everything with a foundation. And then we went to 2017, everything changed. Then came the geeks, right? The geeks started building the technology, and it was wild. 2017 was wild. The ICO phase. I mean, I launched over 40 projects as the marketing manager for them, and it was bonkers. And trying to deal with people who didn't understand what Bitcoin was and what we were trying to do in the world, change the money, and they didn't understand the community aspect. So we kind of lost that in 2017. It was just about greed, right? Then we had 2021, and I think it was the NFT rage, and then we started getting back into the community phase. People were people that love anime. They were going into their little modes of anime, and it was all about their community and what they loved. And I think this time we're splintering even more into more smaller communities. But the difference is with PulseChain is that we had a very charismatic leader. And when people say the word cult, it's kind of true. We're definitely, if you want to use the term of a cult, we are. And that's what needed to take something to the next level. And that's what Bitcoin had. So we've kind of done a full circle here. And PulseChain, I think, is leading the way for that.
That's a great point. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Marlon Williams. I am a board member at the PulseChain Foundation. I'm also the founder of the Atlanta Blockchain Center. And we have a physical facility in Atlanta where we educate the community, the entire Atlanta ecosystem. And I've been a software developer for the past 24 years, the past decade or so in building in blockchain. And for me, most of my successes in the decentralized space has been based on community. There's one particular chain that I co-founded back in 2018. We grew that chain to 400 million market cap, no funding, no ICO. And it was because of community. And, if there's one thing that, I think demonstrates the success of a product is, if you look at the community and the products that come out of it, like see, each and every member of a community as a product, a byproduct of the culture, the values of what that particular community is trying to accomplish. And so, to Randy's point, I do think some of the most successful communities in blockchain are cults, right? If you see a very strong community, they possess cult-like characteristics, and that just means that they're extremely successful. It's not a bad thing. And so, we see just a lot of similar traits, shared values, and cult-like behavior is, what defines communities in blockchain.
Let's go ahead and take a look at that word here real quick, because there's a lot of negative connotations on the word cult, right? If you think about a cult, what is a cult? A cult is nothing more than a group of people with the same values moving at the same time. So I don't know about you, but that sounds like a very successful group of people, ultimately. And if you were to think about it this way, right? Bitcoin started off as nothing more than just a meme. Hey, it's magical internet money. Woohoo, right? Has no value. But then it started turning into the cult of Satoshi, right? And then from the cult of Satoshi, it turned into Bitcoin, the religion. We don't want to talk about Satoshi. We don't want to know who he is. And what is Bitcoin right now? Why are we here? It's all started with Bitcoin, right? So when you're actually looking at it, RH, he's kind of taking that same direction, where it's like, hey, let's go ahead and start with Hex. It has no use or anything. It's just a meme coin, right? DeFi, woohoo, yay. It's a new thing. And then all of a sudden we get the cult of Hex, right? And now we're expanding into even further than that. And I believe we'll continue to expand further.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between a good cult and a bad cult maybe is just the quality of the idea that you're behind. I don't see the big difference in being loyal to a brand and refusing to give up and lose and pushing things forward and really trying to make a contribution. You know, I'm sure there's plenty of cults. You go see every new Apple product that comes out, people line up for days or throughout the night. You see, you know, all the different gaming systems and all the new exciting stuff that comes out. What do people do? They do their best to try to get into it early, you know, and really reap the benefits in whatever way they want. So I don't know. I think it's a cheap word, maybe used by the haters from time to time, but it's if you're in the community, it probably means something more to you than what you see all the bad examples of.
Absolutely, and we're also watching the segmentation of the PulseChain ecosystem, where we're tending to go into smaller and smaller groups, which is okay because you know we can. People might not agree with me. It might not be the libertarians. They might say, Randy, you're stupid. You're anti-vax. Yeah, I am. Maybe that's why you like Nope Token, or maybe that's why you hate Nope Token. That's fine. Maybe you don't even know it because I keep it behind a gate. You know, it's in a paywall. You know, I don't mind doing that. And people are like, oh, you should give all your information for free. You know, PulseChain, everyone should be open, and you should be able to pass your information around free for everybody. No, I don't have to do that. That's one thing I love about our community, because you have people that are open-minded to that, and then you have people that aren't. And I think it's okay. We can all have a different opinion on what we're doing within the ecosystem.
Yeah, and I think, you know, some of the attributes of successful communities will result in sort of these factions being developed based on what we align with, who we align with. But ultimately, we all share the same vision. We all love DeFi, we love transparency, real DeFi. So those are the key tenets that hold us together. But of course, we're going to form separate groups and focus on different areas to grow our ecosystem. And those are all what happens in cults as well.
Well, good answer. What tactics or strategies do you guys think are going to be most efficient for building this community where it sits? That's one thing to start from scratch. We're past scratch. You know, like you said, we're developing inner communities that are growing. We've got systems in place that haven't been in place. The foundation. We've got streamers that are coming out that are better than the first streamers that came out. So what do you guys think moving forward? Now that we've already started laying a foundation, what do we got to do now moving forward, strategy and tactics-wise, to grow the community?
Welcome to PulseChain. We love you.
No hate.
No, strategies, ultimately right now we're still in the early phase of crypto, and kind of like how with the .com bubble, people are coming to crypto to get rich quick, right? And so it is unfortunate that as of right now, where we're at currently, yes, green candles, like the Coach X, is going to be bringing people in. However, we need to go deeper than that, right? If you look at Solana meme coins, what you're getting is a whole lot of green candles, people flocking to it, but then everybody gets very disappointed because they lost money. 99% of everybody loses money on that. And they start thinking, oh, crypto is a scam. Okay, well, what if you come over here instead and you have a group of people such as yourselves right now, right here, and all those watching currently, all coming together saying, hey, this is PulseChain. We love you. We want you here. We want you to build. We want you to be a part of us. That's what's going to get people to stick around.
Real quick. The faster the Ponzi, everything's a Ponzi. The faster the Ponzi, the more of a scam it looks like. Everything else is a Ponzi too. It's about people coming in, paying the people that have been in long. In everything. Buy a house, it's the same situation. You buy a house off of somebody for $300,000, that they bought it for $100,000. It's the whole world is built around the Ponzi. It's about how quick your Ponzi activates. It is really whether or not people think, or it appears to be a scam. that's, I think, why crypto gets such a bad name, is because we move fast. People come in quick. Things go viral in an instant. Talk to a girl's thing went boom. I mean, and then it crashed just as fast. So I think that's why we get a bad rap.
Yeah, just real quick, Charlie Miguel, shout out to them. They have a meme where there's two guys on this bus, and this bus is going around this this overpass, where one guy is looking at the wall, the rock face, and the other guy is looking off in the distance. And they're both saying it's just a Ponzi. The only difference is one is all dark and depressed. The other one is looking at the beautiful sights and the sunshine and happy about it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I think everyone's, I don't know, when you come into crypto, I've been in it since 2017. Luckily came across Richard, and it's a perfect passive mentor at the time, watching his streams. And a lot of people in here probably only seen him on the outreach marketing phase, which is unfortunate. Kind of, I guess we took that for granted a little bit as well. But yeah, if you've seen him before and got an introduction to crypto in that way, I think it's way different than the usual coming into the scene. Especially back, 2017, there was no tokens. It was more of just everything's blockchain. You got to download the wallet, sync the things, the nodes, all that stuff. And then 2020 was the token explosion, and just like all the different DeFi aspects and Hex and stuff was born as well. But coming in today, I think it's really hard to get a frame of reference of, well, one, like, what are you in it for? Are you here for the quick gains? Okay, well, that maybe that goes to timing the market. That goes to, getting an information edge. That goes to like all these other things you can do. If it's, you're here for the community, or you're here for the events, or you're here to build relationships and networking and businesses even, there's that piece too. But I think what happens a lot of times is people come in for whatever reason, they change, evolve, adapt over time. And then they kind of like lose that sense of why they came in the first place, like the purpose, the kind of just going where the wind blows type of deal. And that's easier to navigate when you got green candles and the market's favorable and the macros are great and everyone's, just having a good time. It's less easy to do when the chart's down and you got red candles and you're here because you thought this was a fun thing that your friends were doing, so you joined too. So I think just being able to really reflect, I think that's the most important thing that doesn't happen a lot, and understand, like, what is your timeline? What are you willing to lose? What are you hoping to gain if it does go well? I think that's something that it's usually offloaded to either other people, hopefully not streamers as much. That's one thing I stay away from, giving any sort of advice, especially financial time. I don't know. I think it's one of those. It's really easy to miss that part of your journey. I hate to see people offload that piece because it's really important. And if you don't pay attention to it enough, yeah, it can be unfortunate for your crypto journey.
All right, for sure. I'll speak a little bit to what we were talking about with the question itself. We've gone through a transition where we were and how we were spreading the word to how we're spreading the word today, where it's going to go in the future. And there's big changes coming, but let's start in the past. I got my start writing articles about gold and silver. And then I heard about Bitcoin. I was one of the first people writing about Bitcoin against gold and silver. And then I started writing only articles about Bitcoin. And it just took me into crypto. And then I started making videos. It was so rudimentary. I would just read something that I wrote aloud to the camera and record it. It's so embarrassing looking back if you look at my old content. But that's the step that we need to take if you guys want to start being content creators. And then we started doing the live streams. And if you saw our old Discord Syndicate live streams, I was showing videos of horses. I keep saying that one of you guys know, And so it was pretty wild, with DCC and myself and the captain and everyone else that we did early live streams with. And then it started getting better. Then you had the coffees coming up, Crypto Coffee and the work that he does. And the quality of the stream started getting better and better. And then you had RHMax here, who went and took all of RH's old videos and clipped them up and made it easiest for us to share that content on other platforms like Instagram and TikTok. And you see that RH is everywhere now. Richard Hart, if you go on TikTok, and it's this is weird. It's not Richard sharing the content; it's us sharing that content. So that's the stage that we were at. Now we're going to the AI stage, and it's totally destroying what we were doing before. It makes our old content look like we're like little kids in grade school, and you could just take RH's voice and put it on another character and do all these other things and making songs. You got AJ Rip City. I don't know if you guys know who AJ is from King Pui. He's making these amazing TikToks now and just blowing it away. And I'm just like, this is very, very cool. You got, like, I just saw Max raise his hand in the back. Dark anti-gravity, the stuff that they're doing with their art with AI and the books and the whole spectrum of what we're capable of now, having a assistant. AI is our assistant. Use it, learn it, spend an hour or two a day learning how you can use AI as your business partner or just your content creative partner, because I think that's where we're going, and it's going to change the game. What if 30 or 40 of you out there all started spending 2 hours a day learning how to share content? Because really, it's only 5% of us in our community that are doing all the marketing work. The rest of everyone else sitting on their asses, their hands underneath here. Oh, price go up, price go up. Just think about that for a second. That's how it is.
So I like to I agree with the points that co-panelists made. I like to think of things from an innovation perspective. Again, just being a software entrepreneur for the past couple of decades. When I found out about Hex, I was actually running the node operations group for the Wax blockchain. Some of you guys may know that. So I was the chair of the first group. Anyone wanted to be a block producer on the Wax blockchain, I created those rules, 7-8 years ago. And that's when I first learned about Hex. And I mentioned before that I co-founded a blockchain called Telos. I worked with FIO. I worked with a lot of layer ones. And so as a software developer, so I was always on the technical team. And so when I really started getting involved, I sacrificed for PulseChain. That was really my incentive for wanting to help see some sort of foundation. It was to pump my bags, my main motive. And I felt that a lot of the sort of blocking and tackling in the PulseChain ecosystem was lacking from a layer one development perspective. And again, this is after working with multiple layer ones over the past few years. The question about what do we need? The number one thing that's going to drive growth, sustainable growth, repeatable growth to the chain is innovation. The products that come out of this chain is what will attract users. So we need to attract developers to this chain. Back in the 90s, Steve Ballmer famously went on stage and did his developers chant for Microsoft, because they knew that in order to win the software race, that they needed to attract the software developers like me at the time, was building software in 1998, 1999. That's when I started. And Microsoft did everything to attract us, to make us build our ideas in their ecosystem versus Linux, because Linux was on the come up at the time. They were getting a lot of back-end enterprises to adopt Linux. That's why a lot of the web servers today are running Linux operating systems and not Microsoft operating systems. But Microsoft saw Linux as a threat, and they started catering to developers. And so it's a similar beef today across L1s. There's so many L1s. Now there's L2s. I mean, we're all vying for the attention of developers, of innovators, and it's creators as well. So when I say developers, of course, I'm referring to the ones building products and services that could attract users. But whether you're a creator or some sort of contributor, right? Those are the people that we need to attract in order to grow this chain, because it is very, very competitive. And if we're not attracting the innovation, the building, I'm afraid that we're going to lose. We're going to lose to some of the other ecosystems that are constantly investing in their marketing. They're at every single conference. I was just at ETH Denver. They're everywhere. Sui was there. Brand new blockchain, right? They're recruiting ambassadors. They have, the Sui Foundation investing tens of thousands of dollars at these events, buying out, restaurants and plastering their logos. We're up against, a very, very competitive environment as an L1. And we have to think about it from that perspective as well. Let's attract developers. Let's, invest in attracting innovation and other creativity to the chain, because from a mindshare perspective, they're eating our lunch.
Well, I think it's that a lot of it has to do with the VCs, but the difference with the PulseChain, we are the VCs. So we're truly decentralized. We all have to step up with our pocketbooks, our wallets, and promote PulseChain in these big events. Because so far we haven't done that.
That's going to segue into the next question. And I'd like to give a quick answer to that. When I say that the community is important to be the marketing arm of, what it is that we're doing, that's what these guys are talking about. And that's what we've been doing. And that's, Randy has his event out in Panama that we just attended. And he reached in his pocket and pulled out for that. Same with this. This is my event. This is my gift to the community. And I know you all paid to be here. Believe me, it doesn't pay the bills. But that's what it takes. Those of us who much has been given perspective. And I think that, because we are that type of a marketing, community marketing, we all have to take accountability. And one the next question here, I'll get to that and answer a quick answer and turn it over. But it says, what are the risks of relying too heavily on influencers or key figures in the community? And what I'd like to say about that is that, not everybody's going to resonate with the old pirate character, or Randy, his libertarian views, or Marlon, or some view. But some people do. There's people that come to me and say, RG, thank you so much for influencing me to do such and such. I appreciate it. You don't even know how much you changed my life for this. And that's where the value, because they heard my story. Because some other poor schmuck that's been out there toiling underneath the machine and getting greasy and dirty, and when you get up at the dark and go to bed at dark, it did the same thing I did, resonated with me. He listened to my story, and he trusted me because he's the same guy. Now, some of you relate to other people, and we need you. We need you to put skin in the game. That's why you're all here, because we're trying to get this message out for you to go help others. It's very, very easy to learn how to set up a live stream, or to go out and just get yourself involved in groups and start talking to other folks. And if you can't be the content creator yourself, point them to the content creators. Get them in front of the community members that are putting skin in the game, and promote these events. I can't tell you how disheartening it is to have Hex OGs disparaging the event that I put together, paid for time, effort, and money into, and tell me that my event isn't doing any good, because I don't see that it's not doing any good. Do you guys? No, it is. It's doing good. It's creating a networking opportunity. It's also creating relationships and showing people, what it is, strategy and tactics you need to develop to go out and help us build. So, with that being said, what is it that you guys think that people should be doing to? Let me answer the question in the right direction. You guys heard the question, right? Yeah. Answer.
Okay, so this is something that we at the DJ Roundtable. Oh, okay. This is something that we at the DJ Roundtable talk about quite often. Now, it is quite interesting how just about every single show, when we're going on and on about what we think is going to happen in the market and what kind of tokens are going to be taken off and which ones are going to be doing well versus ones that maybe we want to stay away from. Every single time we do something like that, this guy up front here, Will Stevenson, pulls out his phone and has a picture of a campfire, and he says they're all campfire stories. And it's true. They really, truly are campfire stories. Here's the thing, okay? They're data points. And this is the way that I view them. They're data points. And you want to try and paint a picture of what's actually going on. However, you can't take one specific thing that somebody is saying and saying that is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Instead, what we're trying to do is give you the tools to be able to say, maybe I want to follow this direction, or maybe I don't. Maybe I don't agree with it. Maybe I'm going to go look somewhere else for somebody else's opinion on things. And what I would say is, don't take my opinion only. Take my opinion and then take everybody else's opinion here, kind of correlate them together, and then formulate your own strategic strategy. That right there is the key to success. Never ever take a single influencer's words as that's the way, right there.
Yeah, I think everyone in here has some sort of talent. I mean, whether you think it's obvious or not, whether it's music, whether it's coding, could be engineering background, it could be marketing background, whatever it is. Yeah, I never understand like there's a difference between not putting in the effort and just not recognizing what you have to give. I think everyone in here can contribute in some way, and it may even if you search my somebody, I was talking to somebody earlier and they're like, oh, I'm thinking about doing live streaming, and either asking for advice or how to get into it or whatever. I literally did a stream on this. Like if you search RHMax, how to be a crypto live streamer or whatever, there's a whole video I did with Fashion Coder, and I think I even clipped it out. There's maybe a couple videos you can find. So it's not a lack of information. So if it's not a lack of information, if you got all the resources, if you got all the community, it's not like we don't have a community where no one will go watch. We have plenty of people looking, hungry. I'm out there looking for live streams. I live stream quite a bit these days, and I'm always looking for like people out there that I like listening to as well. So I'm hungry for live streams as well. Even the creators out there want more content. So if it's not, if you don't want to put in effort, that's fine. No expectations. Everyone can choose their own path and contribute however much they want, or nothing at all. But I think PulseChain really is got a community who will appreciate, will share a lot of your stuff. Well, if you provide value, society is supposed to reward you if you provide value. I think this community is pretty good at rewarding people who create value. And I feel just the content I create, and interactions I have, and the relationships, networking, and the people I see putting in the work, that inspires me a lot too. So I think it's kind of this compounding effect. If you see more people doing it, you're more apt to do it. And even if you don't think, you have anything to give, I think you should, take a look and be like, okay, I can do something. If it's just sharing and retweeting and coming to events or otherwise, like there's something you can give if you really want to put in the work. Right? And it doesn't take a lot either.
True. Thank you. And thank you for the work that you've done. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. All right, cool. Over the years, one of my favorite ways was to sponsor or give to the people that are out there promoting us. I think that sometimes, even when I was streaming 5 days a week, it gets old, guys. Especially if you don't feel a reward from it. If your reward is hey, thank you, Randy, for streaming every night, or people DMing you, that feels good. But I'll tell you what feels even better for these folks is when you reward them financially. I sponsor Corey Meatballs Costa, and I love Corey. He's just a genuine dude. He's a teacher. You think he makes enough money to live in New York City as a teacher? No, he just doesn't. So I sponsor him. Fast of Duels once set it up, and every month I send him tokens. He can do what the hell he wants with them. I don't care if he sells or what he does, but I take care of the guy. And if there's other people in the community that you feel that are doing a really good job, and maybe they're not in a financial situation that you're in, find a way to help them out. YouTube has a great little button that you can click if people are enabled for that, to give them $10 or $50 or a little comment that you pay for, and say, hey, thank you, Corey, for what you're doing. And that goes a long way to making them feel good and keeping them in the game, right? I don't need you guys to do that for me, but do it for the smaller guys, the ones who are just up and comers who want to be successful. I'm telling you, if you're a creator, a content creator, and that happens, you go to bed, you're like, wow. I remember Hexo a few times when Hexo got $500 for people like Steph or from the Fire Whale. You just saw his whole affect change on screen. He'd be like, what? Someone just gave me $500? No, wait, that was euros. That was $600. He would just go bonkers on stream. So I'm just thinking about how how we can motivate more people to get involved, and just financial incentives work.
Yeah, I definitely think that getting involved, putting your money where your mouth is, to help contribute to the chain is for a great place to start. When we at the PulseChain Foundation, there were a couple of initiatives that we worked on. One was to get us listed on an exchange, Maxi, which I know a lot of people in this room despises as much as we do. But it was all based off of the understanding that expecting people to bridge through the bridge constantly as their first interaction with the chain isn't the most optimal solution, right? So we understand that whether we like them or not, centralized exchanges are key parts of the crypto ecosystem. They play a huge role in onboarding users. So as a result, we need to, whether we, again, like it or not, we need to work with centralized exchanges. So we even while the SEC case was going, we worked with MEXC to get listed. And the board members of the foundation, by the way, are the ones who paid the $40,000 for the deposit to get us going before we even raised any funds, right? Because it's something that we wanted to do. And so, the same thing with the amicus brief that we filed to support Richard's case. We supported the software saying that software shouldn't be defendants in that. And nuclear herbs, he's been a great person to bounce idea off of, and he's just an amazing supporter for us. So thank you, Nuclear, by the way.
Shout out to Nuclear Herbs.
Definitely. But it's get involved. There's something that you could do, individually. But back to RG's question about reduce the reliance on streamers, I think it's just going out there. How about trying to build something on your own? And again, building doesn't necessarily mean creating a product or coding. If you're a marketer, if you have a marketing company, start doing some marketing for PulseChain. Start getting more active from that perspective. If you are a graphic designer, start creating graphics and posting on X and sharing it.
Postcards.
There you go. Yeah, postcards. I'm sure a lot of us had to do that back in the day, right? Direct marketing, direct mail. But it's just getting involved and getting active in whatever capacity you could afford to.
I just want to say, too, AI, I think, is one of the most underutilized tools of. I don't know how many tweets to get 9 likes on it that I say about, like, go figure this stuff out. Like, it can make you so much more powerful. It can literally give you superhuman powers as a content creator, as a person just around your house doing stuff, figuring stuff out. You don't need to Google. You don't need to YouTube videos all the time. If you have, a device or something you can run ideals by, even if you're like, again, what can I do? How can I contribute to the community? What are the ways I can do it? You can tell it, hey, here's what I got. Here's the amount of money I have. Here's the amount of, here's the exposure I have. Here's the networking events I go to. How can I, promote the chain? How can I make a difference in there? And use AI, use that, make it your friend and make it your partner. Pair programming, pair content creation. There's image generation, media, all this stuff too. It is super powerful and very underutilized these days. And it's a way to get an edge. If you're looking for an edge out there, AI is a huge edge. So you can get in early before everyone else gets in, competes all the gains away.
Yeah, it's Bitcoin 2010 right now. So if you want to know, if you want to be early, like some of us were in crypto, you can do the same thing with AI, and you're gonna be so far ahead of everybody. My son, watching my 7-year-old interact with ChatGPT blows my mind. He talks to it like it's a human. They totally get it, the kids. So start learning.
That boy's teaching AI. Did you say something?
Yeah. Okay. So, for anybody out there, well, actually, how about this? Who here maybe wants to start streaming, but just really hasn't worked up the courage to maybe turn on a camera? Anybody here? No, everyone's just
tell by how high they're raising their hands.
There's a couple, right? So there's a little bit of, and possibly some people watching us as well, right? So Pulse Ray Vision said something to me not too long ago that I found very interesting, right? He said he wanted to start streaming because he simply wanted to learn. He wanted to talk to people way smarter than me, even though he's pretty smart himself, but he wanted to learn, right? And I think that's a part of the community aspect. Being able to just start talking to each other, even if it's over like say a Zoom or YouTube or something like that, with other people being able to watch it, right? And you don't necessarily have to talk to the people watching you, but you can just talk to the person that you're say interviewing with. That right there can be enough to actually start ascending your learning about crypto and PulseChain and Hex. And so I think it'd be a really good start if all you did was just simply turn on a camera, get somebody onto your stream, and just say, hey, I'm interested about a thing. Can we learn about this? Because if you just put it out there into the ether, just as we, the DJ Roundtable, started, let's just go ahead, turn on the camera, say what it is we have to say. Let's throw it onto the ether. If somebody finds any good out of this content, that's great. We helped somebody, right? But maybe the most important person it's helping is yourself. So I do encourage everybody to think about, hey, maybe I want to start a stream. I don't know if I'll be any good at it though. No, don't think about how good you're going to be. Just simply try and learn more and more and just get yourself out there. Throw it out into the ether. You never know what's going to happen.
I'll say too, I would just focus on value. Like if you're new streaming, content creation, whatever it is, if you're good at data analytics, again, some may have backgrounds in analytics and big data or just running the numbers, economics, like whatever it is. If you create things that are valuable, I think people will see it. Like we have a big enough community that will share things like that. Every time I come across a new streamer or new, content creator of some sort, I'm like, wow, that's really valuable. I really like that. That's something very easy for me to share, even invite them on the show, really try to highlight them in the community. And again, keep that rewarding. Like create value, society should reward you. Same thing in our community. If you're producing something of value, again, not everyone's going to agree what value is, all this stuff too. And you shouldn't have any expectations to be on, to be on whatever form that you want either. But in general, it's like hard to ignore if you keep creating things that are valuable. And again, it's contagious. Other people see that. You can share how you did it, and then you can start building it up from there. So value creation is, I think, yeah, it's good to practice, sitting and talking to your 5 live stream viewers like I used to back in the day as well. It's not the easiest thing to do, but if you're talking, you're saying things, you're saying smart things, and you're creating value for people that they want to tune in and watch a clip or otherwise, that's really going to push the button. And again, just keep adding to our community. It's already so vast with people that are doing the same thing.
All right. Got one more question for you guys here. Should be able to spend some time on this one. What's the importance of building real world connections for events for crypto communities? And again, I like to just say that, this was my idea, was to get us all together. It started out with myself, Dollar Cost Crypto Vince, Josh Deep, and Brasology. You know all those names. Those were OGs in the Hex community in the early days of streaming. Well, we all decided to get together in a park and meet each other. And from there, relationships were built. Streams came out of that. Whole inner communities from within the Hex community came out of that. From us all just coming together and hanging out in the park. And then they grew from there. And now we've grown into it. We're having 150, 200, 300 people in a room like this show in Vegas. And that's because we're building real world value here by showing up to these things. A lot of these projects that you see in this room were developed by people who met at these events and started talking to one another, trusting one another, and developing projects and businesses together. There's been relationships. We even have a couple of kids from some of these events. So that, I see the importance of bringing us all together to solidify us as a community, to solidify us as building trust amongst one another, so that you can trust the developers that are in your community that are building things. Because I know it's very easy for them to be dismissed. People that are doing the work out there building on PulseChain to be dismissed by the community and the naysayers. You want to see how much vitriol is out there in the community. Make an announcement that you're building a product, and they're going to come. Your DMs are going to be full. You're going to be meaty. They're coming for you. So I've always tried to be the guy that said, "Hey, lay off of the people that are developing. It's your own fault if you get involved with them and invest your money in them. It's your own fault if that coin goes to zero or does a pump and dump, or somebody just decides that they're going to get in and pull their liquidity. That doesn't have anything to do with the developers. They're trying to make something, trying to develop a build chain, and I think people need to give them a chance, and it's not always the case. So by allowing the projects to come in and show themselves, put some skin in the game, say, hey, no, I want to get in front of the community. I want them to know who we are. I want to get up on stage. I want them to see who I am. I want them to shake my hand and sit down and have lunch with me, get to know why I'm doing what I'm doing, show them that I'm a real regular person and that I'm not some guy that's trying to scam you from, the Middle East or back east or in Africa or somewhere else. That's why these events are important to me. And I'm glad you guys are all showing up here and supporting it. And anything you can do to help us to build and develop on. So I want to fill up stadiums. I think that in order for us to get the voice that we need to be filling up stadiums, or at least that little round dome over there called the Las Vegas Sphere.
Like that, yeah. Good one.
All right, I guess I'll take this one since I just wrapped up an event. It's so funny how things snowball. It started with YouTube just displaying a Richard Hart video to me. I was never a Richard Hart fan. I thought he was a clown. This dude's wearing a top hat at events, and I didn't watch his live stream or his videos that he used to create. I was like, who is this dude? I'm going to VIP events, not hanging out with guys like Tone Bays, Trace Mayer, and these are the original guys in crypto. And then you had the Richard Hart who was wearing a top hat. It was just really weird. And so I never really jived with him. But then that video was displayed to me by YouTube, and it was about Bitcoin Hex. And that was in probably October of 2019. And then I YOLO'd in the first week there into Bitcoin. Hex. And it was just, it was faith, right? Something about this guy. He just resonated with me. Maybe it was the whole drill sergeant thing, going back to the military, and that's what it felt like with Richard. Hey, retard, you're doing it wrong. Like, okay, all right. I'm one of your moderators. yeah. You would block and being his moderator, he was really, really strong on YouTube with all of us who were moderators. And then Hex launched and Discourse Syndicate launched shortly after, and we started doing that. And then I started streaming on my own, and then Fire Whale started messaging me. He's like, hey, I'm coming to Panama. I'm like, can I hang out with you? I'm like, sure. I don't know who the hell you are, but that's great. Let's hang out in Panama. I had no clue who he was. We're sitting down. He comes to my son's birthday. For Christmas, he bought him like $5,000 worth of remote control cars and all kinds. I'm like, this guy's nuts, right? So we became friends, went to his house and over in Europe and spent time with him there. And then I launched Nope. He came in and same thing with Axis. He was pumping the crap out of our coins. We'd be on live stream, you see it go up by 200%. You're like, what is going on? And he'd send me a direct message. Like stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is just absolutely wild. And then we launched the Sami token, which didn't work out for those of you guys who were watching about that. Sami ruined it for us. But then we launched SolidX the next day, and now we're going to have a whole casino system coming to PulseChain with a full license. So it just all snowballed into this amazing thing. Now we have the solid index, and I'm just excited for 2025, guys. Excited.
So I'll take it next. I think I can certainly relate to putting together events at your own dime and having a vision, even for people who don't have it for themselves. In my case, I moved from Miami to Atlanta. In Atlanta, by the way, 70% of transactions on your credit cards and debit cards goes through infrastructure in Atlanta. So anytime you guys are swiping, it's probably going through Atlanta. It's a very strong fintech city. It's called the fintech capital of the United States. Most of the large payment processing companies are there. And when I moved there permanently during the pandemic, because I was always back and forth, I grew up in Miami, I was quite surprised that they weren't promoting blockchain technology. For the fintech capital of the United States, they're not promoting blockchain technology. And so I got a facility, a building in Buckhead, and I opened the Atlanta Blockchain Center. And for 3 years straight, there's no revenue generating from the Atlanta Blockchain Center. All we do is incubate company, and we hold events every single Thursday for 3 years straight, nonstop. That's why I actually missed the one on Friday. I didn't feel too good. We partied a little too much on this past Thursday. But every single Thursday for the past 3 years, we've held events to educate the Atlanta ecosystem about blockchain technology. And not only that, but because of this IRL connection, because we're all used to building in blockchain anonymously or pseudonymously, but because I've got a physical space where people can come and see me, where I could meet other people, we've built a lot of relationships over the past 3 years, strong relationships. We hosted RG and the PulseChain tour, Black Hexagon, Wild SJ. We hosted you guys in Atlanta, and that's when we started getting more tight. We were always online, just talking before that, but it's something about that real life connection, right? We built relationships with politicians. We stand with crypto, with Coinbase, and our mayor. I mean, you name it, all because of the in real life events and connecting. And that's why this is important. So kudos to you for having this vision, RG, because I know that the amount of work that goes into these things and the consistency it takes. Sometimes you wake up like, man, what the hell am I doing? You're more than. But it's you realize the sacrifice is worth it because it's a bigger picture out there, right? And you want to change the world. And so, look, thank you, by the way. Thank you a lot for putting this together.
You guys have a quick answer. We're out of time, but you guys have a quick answer.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for coming out here. I think it's absolutely vital that we, as social creatures, right, us as human beings, get face to face with each other and just get to know each other. Thank you very much, RG, for putting this on. I think it's vitally important.
Absolutely. No, thanks, RG3. Thanks to everyone who organized the event. I mean, it's amazing. This doesn't happen very often, and I really appreciate your work in this.
Good.
Everyone,
It's only
you,
once
Kayla, and everyone else.
All right, everybody. Thank you. All right, guys. Thanks for it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, next for presentation number 6, we've got Project Pi, Infinite Yield and Infinite Solutions. Go ahead, give a nice round of applause to Vandale Calendar and Christopher Powell.
Happy day.